extraordinary contribution of His Highness the Aga Khan and the Aga Khan Development Network in building and supporting independent media institutions across East Africa. Through their stewardship, Nation Media Group has grown into one of the most respected journalistic institutions on our continent. The values that have guided that stewardship, professionalism, independence, and public service deserve recognition and respect. This partnership honors the legacy and strengthens the institutions for the opportunities of a new digital age. My own relationship with the media industry began more than 2 decades ago, so I'm not new in this field. 26 years ago, I had the privilege of being one of the founding investors in the Mwananchi Communications Limited in Tanzania, an institution that has since grown into one of the most important influential pillars of the country's media landscape. In 2003, I invited His Highness the Aga Khan to become an investor in Mwananchi Communication. I traveled to Paris, met him, and convinced him to be a partner in the media group that I had started in Tanzania, the Mwananchi Limited. He graciously accepted that invitation, bringing with him a long-standing commitment to the development of strong and independent media institutions in our region. At that time, many African economies were entering a new phase following the end of Cold War. Market reforms, private enterprise, and open societies were reshaping the economic landscape of our continent. Our shared belief was that a strong media institution would play an essential role helping societies navigate these changes by providing credible information, encouraging public dialogue, and supporting economic transformation. So myself and His Highness the Aga Khan shared that vision, that it was necessary to have strong media to try and help change the mindset after the end of Cold War. As you would remember, countries like Tanzania had changed their policies from government owning all levels of the economy and allowing the private sector to get involved. So we needed a media that would help shape and would help change the mindset of people, that we are now transforming the country from what it used to be, what policies they used to follow, to new policies of market-driven economy. A few years later, in 2006, following discussions with His Highness himself, I agreed to sell my shares in Mwananchi Communication in order to allow the institution to continue its growth under the stewardship and long-term vision. In many ways, the step we take today represents a full circle in that journey. More than 2 decades ago, we worked together to build strong media institutions in East Africa. Today, we continue the journey, guided by the same belief that credible and independent journalism is essential for the development of our society. I repeat, guided by the same belief that credible and independent journalism is essential for the development of our societies. Ladies and gentlemen, for decades, Nation Media Group has played a central role in informing citizens, strengthening public dialogue, and supporting democratic accountability across East Africa. Institutions of this stature are not merely companies. They are guardians of public knowledge and platforms for civic dialogue. A society that invests in strong journalism is ultimately investing in its own ability to understand itself, to question itself, and to move forward with wisdom. Information, like energy, is one of the most important resources in modern societies. When societies have access to reliable information, they are better able to understand themselves, govern themselves, and shape their own future. Allow me to highlight 3 principles that guide this partnership. First, this is an investment in the future of journalism in Africa. The global media industry is undergoing profound transformation. Digital technology is reshaping how information is produced, distributed, and consumed. At its heart, journalism is about storytelling, the abilities of society to tell their own stories with authenticity, depth, and integrity. Africa's story is increasingly being written by Africans themselves. Through institutions such as Nation Media Group, we have the opportunity to ensure that the voices, experiences, and aspirations of our region are told with professionalism, confidence, and clarity. Second, this partnership reflects a belief in the regional integration and shared progress. Across East Africa, we often speak about regional integration. But integration is not built through speeches alone. It is built through investments, partnerships, and long-term commitment to the region we share. East Africa is one of the most dynamic regions in the world. Our economies are increasingly connected